Hey guys, today I have a storage room. So this actually has some history, and I'm going to get right into it. Well, actually, no, we should probably list the specs first before you click away. So this is an 8 items per half slice storage room, 16 per slice total. So every single side of these has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 items on every half slice, and then exactly the same on the other side. So this storage containment unit here is about 32 blocks long exactly and contains 512 unique sortable items, all of which go to shulker boxes so that you can label them with blocks up above, like if this was pistons and this was observers, ender chests. You guys get the point. And that's only to reduce lag. Obviously, item frames would look better, so you can place these on actually 5 of these locations if you guys prefer item frames. Item frames will reduce your FPS a lot in like single player, but it's really not going to make much of a difference in performance on servers, so that's just kind of a decision you're going to have to make. But typically 400 item frames is pretty laggy. So this design actually was created a few months back. Me and a friend Attro, that's spelled A-T-T-R-O because I hit caps lock earlier when I was setting up the recording. He actually did most of the wiring for this. In fact, he actually showed me an idea he had for a 7 item per slice, and I figured, hey, let's actually improve that. And I was going to go for 9, but this kind of shape, this sort of like, mustache shaped storage room, really yielded, 8 was kind of just the best number. And after I had finished laying out the chests, well, he did all the wiring while I was eating. So he pretty much has claimed most of this, but he's sort of dropped off the face of the planet. I haven't talked to him in a while, and I figured I'd make a video on this finally because he was ready for me to do that, but then we just never got around to it. In fact, the reason I actually dug up this old design and installed all the watering, all the item streams up here, is because the Minerva Patron server is in search for a storage room. In fact, they needed a design, and I figured, well, let's give them something to work with. Just an idea. I mean, this is really just a concept. Obviously, they can choose whatever design they want. They can do whatever they want, but I figured, hey, I might as well make a video on this anyway, just so they have an option. So there's really not actually a lot to say about this, but I will kind of go through a little bit of the item streams and sort of how to build it if you're interested. There will be a world download. This exact world would be in the world download, and a schematic for this if you guys are interested. But basically how it works is the inputs here, and you have 2 options of clocks here. This one is less laggy using just observers and repeaters, but it makes a lot of noise. In fact, if I fill this chest here, you'll see what I mean. Well, some weird technical difficulties. I couldn't quite get this to work for some reason. Anyway, what was supposed to happen is this piston's supposed to stay extended, and it's always been stable in the times that we've tried it, but if I actually change this while it's doing it, it should have that effect, and this has been stable before. I'm not sure what's happening here, but basically, this is a 5 items per second clock, and the input to this dropper is 2.5 items, so you hear that clicking where it's clicking an empty dropper, and that's kind of annoying, so some people might not prefer that method. However, if you use this clock over here, it uses redstone dust, so it's a little bit less, it's a little bit more laggy, but it's obviously super stable, and the one we use on Minerva. So all the items should come up here if they're not glitching and having a fun little party up here. I can actually probably fix that on the fly. Aha, all fixed. So the items will just come up here, and then they'll go along the ice stream like so. And this is all filling up like crazy because I did a lot of testing. But basically, you can just follow the item stream as in the world download. I'm not going to go into everything in detail. However, a quick little tip for some of these areas. I actually made it a little bit easier, I think, for some of you guys. Let me just get into the spectator mode here. For some of these, you're going to have situations like this. I would recommend just breaking the hoppers, or I think down here I actually forgot to replace some of the chests. So you can actually go through and get everything in place. And I actually did a little tricky thing here in one of these, where I actually put the water over the hopper. This will work completely fine, and the items will be aligned along the packed ice, but the water will just be on the hoppers. We don't see this often because usually it just doesn't make a lot of sense, but in this case, you see there's really not a lot of room in here to work with. So if the water is over the hoppers, you actually have walking space, and in survival mode, this will be much easier to build. And I also use pressure plates in some areas. These have to be stone because if the items click on the pressure plate, it'll obviously disable the hopper. But honestly, there's really not a lot else to say. I mean, we use some interesting systems like down here where the item filter will actually go down below into the dropper, and it'll also disable this observer clock, so it'll actually pump the items up into this chest, which no longer opens because half slabs are a thing. So you might have to figure that one out in your own world. I guess we can just do that for now, but I only kind of realized this until it was too late, so I think I'm just going to leave it as is. But it's kind of annoying that these chests no longer open. But I think they should still work. Should we try it? Should we try it on camera? Let's find out. Well, it seems to be working fine. So, you know, you won't be able to open the chest, but that's okay. You won't have any access from above. And crafting tables in the middle. Obviously, every single block in here is interchangeable. You guys can use whatever color shulker box you want or whatever chest you want. These have to be alternating trap chests and normal chests, and there's really just not a lot else to say. So, yeah, I probably could do a more in-depth video on this, but we use a lot of different item filters here just because it's a little bit tricky to get everything all in such a squeeze space. I do understand that it goes down a little bit too low on some sides, but you could probably convert this into a 5 or 6 item slice storage room and make this a little bit shorter. But that's completely your preference, and if you want to do that, you can go ahead. This is really just more of a concept slash showcase type video. So, as I said earlier, world download in the description. I'm not going to do a tutorial on this. I'm sorry, you guys, but I would like to think that if you're going to consider building this, you probably have the ability to use Schematica or use a schematic for it. And if you don't, I actually have a video on that. Yeah, shameless plug. Go check out my Schematica guide. That way you can load a schematic of this, place it in your world, and build it as is if you want. I mean, you might want to make some style changes like moving this item elevator or not having these ender chests right next to the walkway. I mean, as long as the item streams align everything along the hoppers, I'm sure you guys will be able to figure that out on your own. Otherwise, any questions, ask in the comments below or join us on Discord, link in the description. The Minerva Discord is a pretty fun place to hang out, so if you want to get in touch with me or any of the members or the patrons or anybody else in the Discord, I'm sure anybody could answer any questions about this design, talk about your day, and get this thing built up for you all in the same conversation. Anyway, that's it from me, and thanks for watching.